Welcome inside the signing day special here on EMUEagles.com. Greg Center and Adam Kuffner coming to you live from the Convocation Center, and we'll today be joined, of course, by head coach Chris Creighton as he introduces his 2015 signing class. We'll also hear from Todd Frakes, the recruiting coordinator at Eastern Michigan, as well as the two coordinators in Brad McCaslin and Kalen DeBoer for this Eastern Michigan Ball Club on a busy day here in Ypsilanti. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us here on this Eagle All Access exclusive. And Adam, exciting day, signing day for everyone is always a big moment, but the Eagles get to bring in 25 today. We're still waiting on one final one that we'll have before the show is officially underway, and our coaches are here, but a great day for this EMU program.
Yeah, certainly an exciting day. Last year it was Coach Creighton's first recruiting class, so this year last year he came within a month and had to really recruit hard on the trail. This year had a full year to get the guys that he wanted, and he did a great job getting 15 different states, bringing in some players from all over the country, and got to credit Coach Frakes, the recruiting coordinator, as well. And this is a big day, as you mentioned, not only for Eastern Michigan but for these players as well. It's something that these student athletes will certainly remember for the rest of their lives, so we just hope that they enjoyed it as well, signing on the dotted line, committing their next 4 years to Eastern Michigan, and ready to make the trip to Ypsilanti.
Yeah, it should be a big-time class that really helps, as Coach says, build a foundation here at Eastern Michigan, and we are proud to bring it to you today. As always, this broadcast is an extremely interactive one. You too can email us. emueaglesradio@gmail.com is our radio inbox. You can send us a note. We've already got some in today if you've got questions for the coaches, and we can also tweet at us at EMU Eagles Radio, or you can also send Adam and I a tweet directly if you so choose to do that, but we so hope you can let us know you're out there watching and enjoying today's signing day special. You look at this class, Adam, 12 offensive guys, 12 defensive guys, a special teams guy, and it's a well-rounded class.
It certainly is, and especially looking at the offensive line. I mean, we saw the seniors that were on this 2014 squad definitely hit the nail on the head there. Tight end, wide receiver, where the position really wasn't as deep as it was in years past. So the offensive side of the football really did a good job there, and I think we'll talk to Coach McCassin later about his thoughts on the defense. But as you mentioned, 12 guys there, a lot of size and a lot of speed. So able to get 12 and 12 and then add a special teams guy after Owen Dubell, the year that he had as a senior punter, able to fill that void. I think it's a really good recruiting class for this 2015 season.
Yeah, plus beyond today, it's all just with signing day. There's also plenty of things going on around the Ypsilanti campus today. Men's basketball, women's basketball, of course, but we hope you can make it out to the Convo tonight, a 6 p.m. signing day celebration here inside the Convo atrium, and hope everybody can make it out to that. And as while you're out here, season tickets will go on sale officially at 3 o'clock this afternoon, as EMU season tickets will have 6 home games inside the factory at Rynearson Stadium this year, and we'll have that release shortly on EMUEagles.com. But before we get any further in the program, we're going to take a quick timeout, and when we return, we'll be joined by Todd Frakes, and we'll start delving further into this Eastern Michigan football recruiting class here on EMUEagles.com. Welcome back on EMUEagles.com. For those of you tuned in on your computer today, we appreciate you joining us here on signing day. I'm Greg Steiner, Adam Kuffner along as well, and now joined by Todd Frakes, who's Eastern Michigan's recruiting coordinator, and now you take over the safeties position this year after the secondary last year.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really excited to be here. It's a great day. We set out about a year ago to put together a class, and today is a celebration of the class. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's work from recruits, from high school coaches, from college coaches, and families, and everybody involved. So it's an exciting day for a lot of different people and a lot of reasons.
You get to add 25 new, fresh faces, and when you're trying to put a class together this big, it's quite the undertaking. I mean, as soon as one class finishes up, I mean, you're pretty much right on to the next one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a staff meeting this morning and had just about everybody signed, and my comment was on to the next one. And we're certainly celebrating this one, but recruiting never really stops. It's a 365-day-a-year job, and it's about building the relationships. And so this class, it is a big class, and it takes a lot of different people to make that happen. And it's not just the coaches that are on the road. It's the coaches that are here for the visits. It's the support staff, and it's a lot of different people and a lot of effort. So it's a good day for everybody.
Coach, a month. I mean, last year you really only had a month to kind of get into the flow, and you had to get to know Eastern, you had to get to know Ypsilanti. So having a year under your belt and really understand what it's like to be here and what to coach this program, how much was that a factor in recruiting this class?
It's huge because, as I mentioned, recruiting is a relationship, and it's hard to have a relationship with somebody in 30 days or 2 or 3 weeks, whatever the case is. And so we feel like the advantage of 12 months is the fact that these guys get to know us, we get to know them, and they really understand what the people of EMU are all about, and that's what we feel like is our strength is the staff that we have and the people that recruits will be around for the next 4 to 5 years of their life. So it's unbelievable how much of an advantage it is over last year.
You look at this class, 19 different players ranked by the National Recruiting Services, including 6 3-star prospects. And everybody knows that stars aren't the end-all, be-all. But these guys are really high character, really the football players that you and Coach Creighton really anticipate being the foundation of this program, don't you?
Absolutely, and you hit the nail on the head. I mean, character is the biggest thing we're looking for as far as we want good people. Absolutely, they've got to be great football players. But if you're a person of high quality character, then that's going to spill over to everything that you do, whether it's weight room, whether it's classroom, whatever it is. Winning is just a byproduct of doing things right, and so feel great about the character we have. They're a very accomplished class, like you said, as far as some of the different accolades, but feel very good about the people that they are as much as anything.
We'll get more now into a little bit of specifics, but some guys that certainly stand out that are new faces and names that people are going to look at. Kid like Brody Hoying comes in, the Offensive Player of the Year in the state of Ohio. You got other big names on there. Breck Turner's on there. I mean, Brian Alsobrooks, all big names that people that have succeeded in high school.
Yeah, and that was another big thing for us as far as what we were looking for. We want guys that are winners. That's a broad, ambiguous term, but the reality is that most of us know, a winner when you see one. And Brody Hoying's a great example. I mean, you got a guy that's been Player of the Year in Ohio a couple years running, won 3 state championships, won a baseball state championship. He knows how to win, and on the field, he's a guy that does a lot of different things and had a lot of success. And this whole class, I mean, there's multiple state championships, there's multiple Players of the Year as far as in their state, multiple team captains, just a very, very accomplished group.
Coach, we got a question coming from Stuart Smith, one of our fans. He wants to know, obviously, you're the recruiting coordinator, but how do the coaches divide up the recruiting territories throughout the nation?
That's a great question. The first thing you have to do is you have to decide as a program, what are going to be your target areas. And for us, it's always going to be the state of Michigan, and it's going to be the contiguous states. It's going to be Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Western PA. And then you have to look at what are the relationships that the coaches you have on staff, where have they recruited before, where are they from, where are they going to have contacts that they're going to have a leg up on developing the relationship with the high schools as well as the recruits. And so you're going to start from that. Most of our guys have recruited somewhere in that area before. Coach Williams has recruited Oakland and Macomb County for a long time. He was a high school coach there. I'm from Southwest Ohio. There's just a lot of different connections. And that's why, one of our areas is Tampa, Florida. Herb Haygood is from Tampa and has a lot of great contacts down there. Coach McCaslin has recruited Dallas, Texas for a few years, so he has a lot of great contacts there. So I've just named what our target areas are, the contiguous states, the state of Michigan, and then Dallas and Tampa. And so that's how you kind of divide it up and just try to be strategic. And it isn't rocket science. You try to put your best people in the best spots and where you have relationships and hopefully be successful. So.
And being around the office this morning kind of seemed like, there's always a little anxiety waiting for those facts to come in, but you guys really seemed calm and like you knew who you were going to get. Did that help in terms of the day in the morning getting off to the right foot? You weren't unsure of anybody, whether they're actually going to sign and send it in or not?
Absolutely. We had a really good feel for who was going to be signing and didn't, because we had such a good relationship with these guys, we had full confidence that we were going to get that letter of intent and didn't get any surprises, luckily. You never count your eggs before they hatch, but we certainly felt very good about the relationships we had with the guys.
Before we let you get out of here, we always wonder, all these trips, all these different states, it's got to be interesting to try to get to some of these locations, especially not a lot of people have heard of some of them. An interesting story from the road or some trivial things that maybe as you're on your way to recruit somebody, you've stumbled across.
Yeah, I don't know that I have any specific stories for you other than, when you've got guys that are flying to Wyoming to see Pete Bergman and making 3 connections and you're meeting different people and being around, young kids, you inevitably have, funny things that happen and something interesting that you sit there and you text back and forth. Guys are at all corners of the country and we're literally interacting with each other, excuse me, with text as far as stories and things that are happening. But I'm not sure I could come up with something specific for you that's real exciting for guys. But, when we're traveling around together, we certainly have a good time and enjoy hearing about everybody's interesting travel stories. So.
Well, we appreciate your time today on a busy day and congratulate you on bringing these 25 fine young men into the Eastern Michigan fold today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Go Eagles.
There he is, Todd Frakes, and we'll come back with you after the break here on EMUEagles.com. We'll get more questions and we'll continue on with our signing day special right after this. This is EMU football here on Eagle All Access. Back inside the Convocation Center. Welcome everybody back in. Now joined alongside Brad McCaslin. I'm Greg Center, and he's Adam Kuffner. And Coach McCaslin, you got to be happy about 12 defensive guys coming in ready to play for you in the fall.
We're excited. They fit the needs that we set out at the very beginning, and it just came together well. You know, it was the interesting thing is that almost 40% of the defensive class is here with us right now, and going through spring practice, and that's a tremendous help in terms of us and the progression of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I could say having those guys come in early, especially a lot of the guys in secondary, has to help you being able to really prepare it and knowing that you've lost a lot from last year's team.
Absolutely. When you lose Pudge and KJ and Willie, I mean, we lost some impactful players, and so to have these guys step in right now and not have to wait until June 28th, or our check-in day, it's a tremendous help.
Well, let's delve further into some of the guys that you're going to work closely with. I mean, a guy like Brian Glover out of the Pittsburgh area, a big-time linebacker. He's a guy that certainly has risen up the scouting report ranks as the recruiting period's gone on, right?
Absolutely. Plays for a great program, with a lot of history and a lot of great football players that have come through there. And I think that, when that happens, sometimes there's a standard that's elevated in terms of when people come in there and want to look at those guys. And his junior year was not like his senior year. Senior year, he had a great year. Really came on. He's been a starter in the program since his sophomore year, and which is impressive by itself. But he's an intelligent football player. He's hard-nosed. He's physical. He can run. He has the ability to play a couple different positions in our defense right now, which is that versatility is really what we need with guys. And he's a winner. He's just a competitive winner, and bringing that to the table with some confidence.
Speaking of a guy who's been a winner at really every level, and Brody Hoying, I know we mentioned it with Coach Frakes, but comes from a very well-established program in Coldwater and probably the best high school league in America, if I want to say so. I mean, you look what the Midwest Athletic Conference has done. I mean, they win everything. But he comes over as the offensive player of the year, and you're going to get him on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's when you take. I love seeing defensive players playing offensive positions, showing savvy, showing intelligence, showing skill. And Brody absolutely. I mean, he's the quarterback. He's the quarterback leading the team over there. And so, taking a quarterback, putting him in the secondary, being able to lead and direct and know what's going on. I mean, just a lot of advantages.
Coach, certainly. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Just certainly seemed like you bulked up your defensive line. I mean, you got 2 3-star guys coming in, defensive tackles, and Nick Dill and Quani Figueroa. And then on the defensive end, you get some speed as well in Max Crosby and Hunter Andrews.
Yeah, when it's said all the time, everything starts up front. We really believe in that. Here in terms of what we're doing, and felt like first of all with some size and and from the programs that those two guys are from, very successful, Paramus Catholic and Stevenson. I mean, they're very successful programs that they're going to be able to come in and not just be guys that are, going through the initial stages of your program, but could be, potential initial contributors.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you had Jeremiah Harris and Jason Beck, just 2 freshmen last year that contributed right away. I mean, is there any guys that really stand out that you can see making that, or are you going to have to wait until the fall until they come in and go through the workouts?
I'll be honest. I think one of the things that we feel really excited about with this group is that I don't know if there's many guys that we think can't come in and potentially contribute in this class. I mean, I don't think we've tabbed a single guy that says, this guy's definitely going to redshirt. And so, the message to that class is be prepared. Be prepared starting now. I mean, they got the workout today from Coach McKeefrey. It takes them right up to the check-in day, and they've got to get after it.
You look back at year one at EMU, and what did you learn about this team that you have, and what do you really see maybe yourself doing differently moving forward?
We're going to continue to evolve, what we do defensively to make sure that we're fitting what the MAC is presenting in terms of challenges on a week-in, week-out basis. Still believe in our philosophy overall with a 3-4 concept, but we play a lot of 4-man principles, within that. And that's going to continue. It's a little bit of, we hang our hat on how we do what we do, and that's an important thing. Without defining it, that's an important thing. And but with that it's got to come with confidence and with an attitude. you know what I mean, with a swagger, with a confidence. And so I think at times, the how we do what we do was getting us through sometimes, but we weren't necessarily pushing it over the top with that confidence, with that swagger. And so, I think we're going to continue to refine the processes, and then, but do it with a mentality to achieve.
Coach, staying on that topic a little bit, EMU Charlie Moore would like to know, who do you think is one defensive player that will take a big leap for next year that could be on this year's team?
From the
2014 squad.
One of the things that the two names that you've already brought up that I think have an opportunity to really grow. I mean, Jason Beck started all but one game for us at safety, and is on a path right now. I mean, he doesn't just want to take the next progressional step in this. He wants to take things over as a safety. And when you lose the leadership at the other spot, it really falls into his hands to do that. So not only do we have an opportunity for him to do that, but we also need him to take that big step, and then Jeremiah Harris, who you mentioned too. Now, Jeremiah was in and out of the starting lineup, played in every game, but really has an opportunity to become a very impactful player in this league this year in his second year.
Before we get you out of here, you look back at your tenure as a coach, and even thinking back to the days when you were a high school kid and moving to the next level. Most memorable signing day moment that you've ever had?
That's I think last year was unique for me because we popped in here with just a few weeks to go before signing day, and I think the initial thought is, how are we going to get this done? And then when it happened, and when you look at with two defenders that started or played a lot this year, we really did a good job with that group, and that was to a certain extent a surprise, and a very pleasant surprise, not being through something like that from a transitional situation. So that might be right up there with it. This class stands out in a certain way because it is it's been the year-long process. We've had the commitments for a long time. We feel like that this group is bonded in a way far better than we would have even imagined with themselves. The guys from Florida all the way to Michigan that are in Texas that are all connected with each other, and that we have a certain pride with that in terms of the way those guys are all connected to each other.
Well, we appreciate your time. We congratulate you on this 2015 signing class, and before you know it, less than a month away before spring ball gets underway.
Yeah, excited about that.
Well, we appreciate Brad McCaslin's time, and we'll have so much more as we continue on our signing day special here on EMUEagles.com. Back after this. Signing Day special continues here on EMUEagles.com. Everybody, thanks for tuning in for the broadcast today. Don't forget, if you have questions for Coach or anything during today's broadcast, don't forget you can email us, emueaglesradio@gmail.com, emueaglesradio@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us at emueaglesradio, or either Adam and I directly if you choose to go that way. As our Shining Day show continues, the Eagles ink 25 to their class today, and we're now joined by assistant coach Kalen DeBoer and the offensive coordinator for this ball club. And you got to be excited to see 12 offensive players on that list out of the 25.
Yeah, no, it was a great recruiting class for us, and it's been a lot of hard work that goes into it. Most of all, we got great kids that you can just see really are so excited about where this program's headed and the impact that they can have.
Yeah, we talked with Coach this morning, and really, these are foundational guys. They're character guys that have really experienced a lot of winning in their time. Players of the year on offense and defense, and all the stars add up for what really shows to be an impressive class, but you never know till they do get here, right?
Absolutely. There's just a variety of skill sets, I think, is a great way to put it, at each position, and we want to have as much flexibility to do the things that we want to do within our offense. And, you look at each position, tight end, wide receiver in particular, where you got, 4 and 4 guys in each of those spots. There's just a lot of flexibility with their skill sets. But these guys have a lot of accolades. They're all the key guys, the go-to guys in their program, and that's the way it should be because we've had a year now to get it right.
Well, you talk about flexibility, and I know from your side of the football, only having one tight end who's currently on the roster, that didn't leave a whole lot of flexibility. You bring 4 guys in now, a couple guys that are already actually here, certainly helps that, but it certainly will only help your offense now to have these tight ends in the fold.
Yeah, and it's more than just the production that you get on Saturdays. It's just getting through a practice sometimes. How do you that one guy's dinged up, and how do you even practice what you want to prepare for him and execute that Saturday? And so these guys are great players. At tight end, with Sam Giardat being a local from Jackson, and he's just a horse. He's kind of that bull, so strong. 400+ bencher, just rock solid kid that can move some people in a hurry. And then you got a guy like Bryce Kemp, who was actually our first commit back last summer when we saw him here at camp, and he's a strong 6'5". I don't know. I think he's up to 215. I don't know what he's listed right now, but I think he's up to 215 and continues to grow. Each time we see him, and so he can run. He's a hurdler. He's a basketball player. We're excited about guys like that. Of course, Cody Tuttle was someone that we had introduced earlier. He's an H-back type move guy that can do a lot with the ball in his hands. And then just right at the end here, we got Danny Ane, and Danny's going to be a horse. I mean, he's 6'6" right now, and I think he's still growing. Has a great frame to put a lot of weight on.
Coach, I mean, another place that really, we talked about the lack of depth at like tight end and wide receiver, but a place that you had a lot of experience last year was the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of seniors on this year's team that's going to have to, the holes are going to have to be filled there, and it seems like you brought in 2 guys that can possibly do that. Pete Bergman's a huge guy, 6'9", 290, and then you got Rob Pavletic, who's 6'5", 295. I mean, just huge guys that you're bringing in.
Yeah, and there isn't numbers at that position right now, which is something that's really important to our program. But I know we nailed it with these 2 guys, and that's key because those guys are going to be, the future, and they're going to be just staples in our offensive line for the next 4 years. I think we'll have more to come in the future, maybe 1 or 2 more as time goes on at offensive line as well to add to the group. But it's something we're excited about as far as the quality we brought in. And I know next year the plan is already in place for us to bring in more quantity as well as we prepare for next year's recruiting class already.
And then also wide receiver, I mean, you have Dustin Creel, who's kind of the veteran of the group, and you had some guys brought in this year that really got kind of their first reps and got their feet wet in game action. So having those guys that have a year of experience, will that really help these new guys coming in to, they know what it feels like going through that first year and trying to get out on the field in their first season?
Yeah, absolutely. There should be some great competition because a lot of our even guys that are playing right now, I mean, they're they're new. They're still growing as players in our program, and that's a place like you said, there's not a lot of depth, and even get through practice sometime when one or two guys get dinged up, it was difficult this year. And with 4 guys coming in who are all just stapled, they were staples in their offense and key guys and highly recruited players by many other schools. Just good kids all in all that work hard. We're super excited about the receiving corps we're bringing in.
The other thing you look at, you unfortunately lose a lot of guys on that offensive line to graduation this year. You have the luxury of redshirting a lot of the guys out of last year's class, but that's only going to make you guys stronger now to have 2 recruiting classes of a lot of beef up front, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. We knew that was one thing we looked at in the short time we had before putting together last year's class, is that, hey, we're losing 4 or 5 guys actually from this year's senior class, and so we brought in 5 guys a year ago that all redshirted, and they need to do their part, and they definitely are. They're working hard, and they're very coachable kids, and they're all still here, just really anxious for their opportunity and their shot.
You look forward to spring practice, less than a month away, really, from starting now. It's hard to imagine. And year 2 of getting to install your offense, and we saw what Reggie was capable of doing last year, but a few more weapons out there, and him battling with Brogan have to make you excited and ready for March to come around, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. 1 month from today we'll be on the field, probably at this time, and it's just, we were talking about it yesterday after our morning workouts. I just looking at the quarterbacks with Reggie and Brogan. They don't look like freshmen. You look at them out there, and they're the guys that are patting the other guys on the butt, and they're not just concerned about where they stand on the team anymore. Yes, they are competing, and that spot is closely contested either way. But it's just something where you can see that those guys, they are maturing, and they have been through the grind now for a whole year, and they aren't just redshirt freshmen that are going into their first spring. They're going to their second one.
Before we get you out of here, we asked Coach McCaslin, you think back of all the time that you've been a part of football and signing days, most memorable signing day moment that you've been a part of, whether it was when you were in high school moving up to the college ranks, or whether it was when you were the head coach, or even now as an assistant.
I don't know if there's a most memorable one. You remember the feeling that you have. You're just so excited. This is honestly one of the most memorable ones I think I've been a part of. Just because I know how hard we worked as a staff, and it's probably the hardest working staff I've been a part of. Year round. I think there's been great staffs that have been on that work extremely hard the last half of the recruiting period, but our staff, every single day we are doing something. And it's Coach Creighton, him driving the bus with us as a staff, but Coach Frakes just being really organized, and I really like the way we've put this class together, and it came together. Some of these guys have been committed for quite a while, and just holding on for dear life because there's other schools taking shots at them.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't want somebody poached. That's the hardest part.
That's the hard thing, but we really built great relationships with these guys, and that's what makes these guys special as well.
They seem like a family already. Just hearing those guys talk on the phone this morning, they all kind of know each other, even though they're spread out over 15 states. This is a pretty cohesive group already.
There was a lot of even questions just by our, each of our individual recruits on, hey, so and so, is doing good. We're asking about other recruits, and they're trying to do anything they could to make sure that this group stayed together. Here in the last couple weeks.
One more thing before we get you out of here. We touched on a lot of the other guys, but I don't think we've quite touched on the last signing that finally came in just before we went on the air. And Breck Turner, he's your second running back in the class, and a kid that highly acclaimed out of Ohio. And he had a signing day special of his own that we were waiting for, but he's a pretty special kid in the backfield.
He is, and he's a local guy that we just had our eyes on immediately. The first time we met him, the first time we watched his film this spring when we, just when you're going through the evaluation process, it's just you see Breck and you can see the presence he has, and then you get to know Breck, and then you understand just what makes him tick because, he's special, and just what he brings to us. There was a lot of guys, Breck signed. Had wanted to do a formal signing here at the end of the day, and there was a lot of text messages or messages through Twitter and phone calls asking us, is Breck signing or what's going on? We just said, yeah, everything's okay. He's just holding out on us here a little bit. So he's already a key individual, with this class, and he hasn't even been here yet.
Yeah, they had the message boards and Twitter a flurry.
Oh, really?
There's no doubt about that.
I bet.
Well, there he is, Kalen DeBoer, joining us as our signing day special continues here on EMUEagles.com. When we return, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be joined by head coach Chris Creighton and hear from him on what he thinks this class fully entails. More signing day coverage continues here on EMUEagles.com after this. Back here as our signing day special continues. Don't forget, check out EMUEagles.com. As soon as our signing day show ends, we'll have the complete release of this class. You can read all their bios and see all of the things that happened from this morning, signing day, here at the Convo. And also, don't forget, a chance to come out still tonight to the Convo Atrium to join head coach Chris Creighton and hear from the coaches about the class, as well as the first time be able to see their video all tonight here at the Convocation Center, a 6 p.m. start. We hope you can join us. Don't forget, we'll also have your season ticket release going on sale immediately following the conclusion of this show, as we'll have 6 home games at the factory at Rynearson coming up in the fall. But we'll take one more quick timeout. We'll be joined by head coach Chris Creighton right after this. Back inside the Convocation Center, I'm Greg Stenner, Adam Kuffner here as well, and we're now joined by the second-year head coach of this Eastern Michigan program, and Chris Creighton, and a 25 fine young men you get to bring into the fold today with your signing class, and it's got to be a good feeling to have this class in the books, but the work's still never done.
You're always working, always recruiting. We were talking about it, this morning as a staff. We essentially, literally recruit every single day of the year. So from this moment last year all the way to today, we've been working on this class, and that's one of the many reasons why we're so excited, thankful, for these guys to be a part of it here at Eastern Michigan. It's a big day for us.
It certainly is. I mean, you look at the guys you bring in, 19 of them ranked by Recruiting Service, 6 with 3 stars, and I know that's not the end-all be-all for you. It's about high-quality young men that have a certain character and foundation built inside of them, isn't it?
No, they've got to play a high level of football. I mean, they've got to be talented. There's a lot of people who are really good at evaluating talent. There's no question. We don't use stars, but if we did, we probably would do it differently than some of the national services. But nonetheless, that in and of itself is not enough for us. So which rating service is starring, character?
Right.
Guys who are great teammates, guys who, want to get up at 5:30 in the morning, when it's snowing outside, because they love football so much, even, in January and February. So we went after winners, and that's what we got. We went after guys who believe in themselves, know who they are confident. And it doesn't mean that everyone's, won a state championship, but it does mean that, sort of regardless of the circumstance, they know who they are and they believe in themselves. And that is going to be, a tidal wave, that's going to hit us this summer, which is going to be awesome.
You look at this class, 12 offensive guys, 12 defensive, and then you bring in a kicker / punter, and really it continues to help with your depth at a lot of spots. And the hard battle still continues to be getting up to that magic 85 number, but certainly spreading out depth across the board helps you a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. We basically blanketed our entire team, with this class, essentially every position. And that was the plan, and that was strategic in a lot of ways, for a lot of reasons. But one, we need depth across the board on our team, and then it also just helps us again continue to build the foundation with every position covered.
Coach, you talked about that you recruit every single day, and so kind of something that we talked about with Coach Frakes and talked about in the pre-show before we got the coaches on is that you guys really didn't have a lot of time last year. You really got in on the job in December and had just over a month to recruit. So the fact that you do recruit every single day and that you had a year, 365 days to do so, how much beneficial was that for this recruiting class this year compared to the one last year?
Right. Well, last year we had, however many weeks we had, and we recruited every day.
Right.
But like you said, it was maybe 5 weeks, or in really only 2 weeks where we could be on the road. And so we're so fortunate to have the class that is currently here at Eastern Michigan. I mean, it just, you kind of go back and pinch yourself. How did we get, these guys? And it just, it was a good thing. And so, but now, right, you have 365 days, not a matter of weeks. And it doesn't mean that we knew and we were on each of these guys from last February, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, whatever it was. But some of the guys, they surface in the summer or something like that. But we have really scoured, starting in the state of Michigan, and then where we focus, which is in the Midwest, and then we have a couple satellite spots, going out and trying to find, our kind of guys. And so 365 days later, we found them, and they've chosen. The way that we do it, I love it, because we tell them exactly what the challenges are. We tell them who we are and where we are in the stage of the program. And then it's basically, if you're looking for a finished product, where you kind of wait your turn, you step in and you keep them good, and, you're kind of meaningless. Someone's going to fill that spot, or do you want to be a part of the challenge of doing something that some people don't think can be done? and are you a guy that can make an impact? Are you a guy that believes so deeply in yourself and the other people around you, and then a program eventually it's bigger than yourself? Can you come and take that challenge with us? Our staff did it a year ago. We're not far removed from all of the questions and issues that you go through and making a huge life decision. And so I'm so proud of these guys. It's the road less traveled. It's tough. It's not the easy way. But I can tell you this, that there's nothing better in sports in a contest than a comeback. There's not. You don't ever. The Seahawks didn't want to be down 16 or whatever they were, with however many minutes left. You never want to be in that spot. But nevertheless, when you are and you're able to come back and do it, there's nothing better. And our program has that opportunity. And so you're signing up to be down 16-0, but with that chance of making it special. And so just really, really proud of these guys for wanting that.
And it certainly seemed like you found those guys, but of course nothing's ever official until you hear that fax machine running. So when you hear that noise going off, that has to be music to your ears, right?
Yeah, it's a neat deal. It really is. We got a couple through the email and whatnot, but the fax machine rings and everybody's head turns, and then when you take it off, everybody wants to know whose name it was. So in our class, the guys have been talking. And know each other and are excited, way beyond what we've, tried to orchestrate. And so they're probably all congratulating each other now, and they know who wants to room with who, and it's just it's a fun day.
You look at this class, and we've got some emails coming in from the fans at home asking about certain aspects, and they see, of course, a lot of out-of-state guys on this list, and that is true. 15 states are covered. You guys covered a lot of miles in this recruiting class, but just 3 from the state of Michigan, but that certainly wasn't without trying, was it?
No, we offered 34 players in the state of Michigan and ended up getting 3. But so, again, we're undeterred. We get that those closest, to Eastern Michigan and the football program are probably very aware, of, some of the struggles that the program's had through, for decades. So they're not going to be won over easily. We get that. But we're not going away. We're not going away. We're going to continue to recruit the state of Michigan. We've got 7 coaches recruiting Michigan, 34 offers in the state. But for many guys, it wasn't what they wanted to do. And so there are guys in Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Pennsylvania as well. And then we also hit satellite spots in Florida and Texas. And there are people from outside those areas as well. And, we, again, we're telling people our story and who we are and what we're becoming. And if you're attracted to that and you're in Rhode Island or New Mexico, as long as you're one of our kind of guys, then we want to talk to you.
Well, we know you want New Mexico at some point because that's the last state you have yet to make it. You got to cross your 49th off the list with a trip to South Carolina, correct?
Braylon Collins, I'm in debt to him that he got number 49 for me. So if we can find someone in New Mexico, I'll have reason to get out to that state too.
Well, hopefully somebody's watching right now, and next year we'll be on that list. A couple guys that are on the list, of course, we'll still focus on the in-state guys before we start rolling down the list, but a guy like Brian also Brooks, a 3-position guy, quarterback, kicker, punter. Adam and I got to see him in high school calling one of his games this year, and he's a kid that you're going to scholarship as a kicker / punter, but really an all-around guy that will he see maybe other opportunities at QB, or was he strictly more a special teams guy?
Well, first of all, I don't know if we're going to put him down as Brian also Brooks or Coach also Brooks. He has been here, more than anyone, and it's because he loves this place already and has been the glue of this class. He's a large reason why everybody is so connected. He's just here for the men's and women's basketball game here on Saturday, and loves the place. His mom went to school here, So he's already a recruiter extraordinaire. He can kick it. He can punt it. He can throw it. And he's probably never done this because he's been a kicker and punter. But I bet if we said, we want you to throw this backwards through your legs, he could probably long snap, He can do it all. And he really wants to play quarterback. But he understands that, we were taking him as a kicker and a punter in this class, but he's going to get an opportunity to work at quarterback as well.
Another kid up the road, Hunter Andrews out of Lapeer, and defensive end and a freshman. Rob Rubik, of course, up there, and our color guy on the football side of things, just raves about his talent ability, and I know he's somebody that you guys really have kept your eye on as well.
Yeah, I mean, he committed to us this summer, and it's been an absolute blast. He's going to be a great football player here. He's 6'4" and 230 right now while he's playing basketball, and has a great motor and a love for the game, and actually grew up in Lapeer with Max Crosby, another defensive lineman who's now down in Dallas, Texas. Those guys were childhood friends, unbeknownst to us, and ended up coming to camp together and all that. And so it was just those two guys are reunited. Now they're going to play college football together. Hunter, he's going to be a great defensive lineman at Eastern.
Danny Anee was a guy that kind of flew under people's radars, and we weren't quite sure he was coming to Eastern Michigan. He kind of pulled out his name out this morning and surprised the people, but 6'7" out of Indianapolis, and a tight end that certainly one of 4 tight ends that you guys are bringing in. And I know Coach DeBoer raved about having tight ends because last year you were so limited with that, but 4 tight ends will certainly help you this year.
Mrs. Anee was on the visit with him, and so we want to make sure we it's Anee because we had to get that right as well. But Danny, I've lived 11 years in the state of Indiana, and we have a significant number of guys on our team from Indiana. And so he is coming from Indianapolis, Roncalli High School, and playing basketball right now. Bruce Cyphers, his head coach, is a legend in the state of Indiana, just runs an incredible program. And Danny's going to be a really good tight end. I mean, he's every bit of that, 6'6", 6'7", and when coaches talk about him, they talk about his toughness. And in that offense, you're not flexing out and running slants and outs every time. He can catch it, and he's good at that, but he can put his hands on you and move you. And it just, we know a guy like Danny is going to, with Coach Mack and our strength staff, he's not going to be, 215 or 225, whatever he is, for very long. And he's going to be someone to be reckoned with. And really, he's actually coming in with our 3rd player from the state of Michigan, which is Sam Girardat, out of Lumen Christi. And he is another tight end. They're very different, where, Sam's at about 245 pounds right now, and, his strength and all that kind of stuff is already sort of off the chart. And he may not stretch the field like Danny will, but when he puts his hands on you, you're going backwards. And he wore number 99 for Lumen Christi, and Coach only gives out that jersey once in a while to a player that he just thinks, has it all. And I think it had been 4 or 5 years since anybody had worn number 99, but Sam Girardat wore it this year.
It's always a special treat to get that number. And you look at also in this class, the 2 other tight ends we haven't mentioned, Bryce Kemp, you get him out of Iowa. After your stay at Drake, you come able to snag him here, and he was, of course, a kid that had some Big Ten looks before deciding to stay with you. And then Cody Tuttle.
Yeah, so Bryce Kemp, I mean, he's just north of Des Moines there, and so it is fun to have someone coming from Iowa. And he's another guy who, he's playing basketball. He's a really good athlete, so 6'5" and slender right now, but in a snap of the fingers, he's going to put some really good weight on, and he is, again, going to be a force to be reckoned with. So some of the tight ends are, have some work to do with just shaping their bodies, but, once that happens, they're going to be dynamite. And then Cody Tuttle has a couple years of experience, and he'll be coming. He'll be ready to go right away. He was the MVP of his Moore Park Junior College, and I think he had 47 catches, and he's every bit of 6'3" and 225 pounds, tough, physical, and he's going to come in and make an impact right away.
No, Coach, last year you really redshirted a lot of the freshman class. So thoughts on this freshman class this year, seeing if the same way last year? Are you going to redshirt them again? Or are you going to play a lot, or is it going to be a mixture? I mean, you had guys like Jason Beck and Jeremiah Harris that played, but for the most part, you redshirted that last class.
Right, yeah. Philosophically, really for the last 7 years, we've redshirted the freshman class. Now, there's always been a guy or two that creep their way in there and don't redshirt. And so we wanted to redshirt the class last year. We did that. Jeremiah Harris and Jason Beck are two guys on defense that you mentioned that played, and we're glad that they did. They helped us, and they got better. They're also going to graduate a year earlier now than the rest of the class, so I will be weeping then. But this year, for the first time again in a while, we're not going to just blanket redshirt the class. This class is going to have a chance to come in here and to compete and play. So there will be guys who redshirt. There's guys we talked about. There's throughout the class that are going to need to develop some physically and whatnot. But we're going to infuse our team with basically our freshman class that's redshirted, that are here now, and then the incoming class, those that are ready to play, and the situation affords, that kind of situation for them to play depth reasons or whatnot, that they'll be out there going at it.
Any interesting recruiting stories that you have about this class that you care to share with us, that while you're on the road recruiting these guys and getting them to come to Eastern?
Well, I'll tell you, just this last week, I flew Sunday night to Chicago, Monday to Cleveland, Tuesday to Pittsburgh. I'm giving you the wrong week. That was the week before, but I'll give you that one too. Pittsburgh to Florida, Florida to South Carolina. This last was Chicago to, get this right, to Cleveland, to Texas, to Dallas, to L.A., to Casper, Wyoming, and back. So it's been crazy. We started the week on Monday morning in Chicago with Nick Dillon. He cooked us an unbelievable breakfast, scrambled eggs, steak, and fruit, and was there with his family. That night it was in Cleveland with the Dohertys, and Eddie had us playing Taboo with his family. So, it's just so much fun being with the families and being in guys' homes and their schools and knowing where they're from. It's been really exciting, and we're just really blessed and thankful, that it's all come together.
Continue with that trend. You look and you were able to snag a few guys out of Florida, and I'm sure Herb Haygood's connections down there certainly have paid off dividends. But bringing some wide receivers out of there, as well as a running back in Willie Parker, but Kezio Snelling and Isaac Holder, of course, two great guys that you're going to have on the offensive side of the ball as well.
Right, and then Jalen Pickett will be on
absolutely.
defense. Yep, so he's another one from Florida. So Coach Haygood, those who don't know, is from Sarasota and then came up to Michigan State. And so he's basically going back down to his neck of the woods and saying, I did it, so why can't you? And but it's just it's fun, so much fun going down there with him and recruiting. He just genuinely cares about guys, and guys know that. And there's no better way to recruit than just to develop an authentic relationship. And when the match is right, you hope that it comes to fruition. And so, he's got 2 of his 4 QBs are from Florida, not QBs but wide receivers. And then Braylon, being from South Carolina, is pretty close.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Eddie rounds that out. But he Coach Haygood and the whole staff have just really done a great job.
A few more minutes here with head coach Chris Creighton before we let him go on a busy day here at the Convocation Center. Don't forget, if you want to email us a question, you can, emueaglesradio@gmail.com, or tweet at us, emueaglesradio. And, Coach, you look at this class, you have a fair amount of people in already, 3 junior college kids and a couple high school kids who came early, and that certainly has to help in your spring depth. But, of course, not always there. I mean, you're still looking for guys. There may still be additions to this class. Might there be?
No questions. We've got we're going to continue to recruit. We're going to have an addition or 2 to this class. And signing day is the first day, that you can sign. People sometimes think it's the only day, but it's really the first day. And so we're still working. And I'll also tell you that we have some preferred walk-ons that we're going to be, announcing at some point here soon, and a group of guys already that we're incredibly excited about. And will be every bit a part of this team as anybody else.
We also would be remiss. I mean, we've talked with 3 of your assistant coaches today also, but this is a recruiting day that's about you and your team. I mean, it's so much bigger than just one person going out there. And all of your assistant coaches, graduate assistants, GAs, director of football, everybody takes this day to serious heart because it's really the foundation of your program, isn't it? And they've all done a tremendous job.
They have. It's so many people, to make a football program good, it takes so many different people and so many different facets. I mean, you guys are a huge part of that. There's no question. And, Heather and her staff, I mean, she speaks at the official visit weekends. Our president speaks. Aaron Burtis and our, academic support is obviously a part of it. Tommy Rapier and his staff with equipment. Of course, Jake touches everybody, but faculty come out to help. And, everybody's part of Eastern Michigan. It's just it's our school and our program, and so a lot of people go into making a football program run, and then it's no different in recruiting. And I think that people are going to be really proud of this class.
Well, we certainly know that you've made a lot of people proud already in your short stay here, but a lot of work is still to be done, and we certainly hope people can continue to come out and support Eastern Michigan football. And I know the helmet that sits in front of you has really started a tradition with the Diamond Plate E and the E-Tough mentality. And a lot of people still look back at last year and establishing a lot of these traditions, but that Eastern really didn't have that will continue on this season, won't they?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it grows and gets better. But E-Tough is it is a description of our program as is and what we're going to become. It's not a one-year slogan or something like that. It's we came up with that after being here for 4 months and getting to know the place and getting to know our guys. And so, and this group is that.
Pretty special, and we congratulate you on a sensational class number 2, and wish you only the best as we lead up to spring practice 1 month from today.
That's right. Yep. And we judge a class. I do anyway. When they graduate, you get their diploma and you look at all that they've achieved on and off the field. But today is all we have is signing day. They're not even here yet, but we're as excited as you can possibly be about a class right now.
There is head coach Chris Creighton, and we appreciate him joining us today on a very busy day here for EMU football. Don't forget you can join Coach Creighton tonight at the signing day special here at the Convocation Center atrium, 6 o'clock, as he'll have a little speech on each of the guys coming up tonight, as well as their recruiting video. So you're going to quickly make sure you got all that tape in order, right?
Yeah, no, we're good to go. We're ready. Hope to see everybody there tonight.
I hope so, too. We'll take one more time out back after this from the Convocation Center on our signing day special. This is EMU football. Back inside the Convocation Center as we close out this 2015 version of the Signing Day special here on All Access. We appreciate everybody tuning in for today's broadcast. Year number 2 that we've done this, and it continues to be a very special event. We hope everybody has enjoyed us bringing you coverage of Signing Day here from the Convocation Center. I'm Greg Center. He's Adam Kufner, and we're still taking your tweets and emails for a few minutes longer about Signing Day. And just to recap it for everybody who may have turned in late, this afternoon, or really this morning, Eagles inked 25 different players from 15 different states, 12 defensive guys, 12 offensive guys, and 1 special teams kid. 4 kids out of the state of Florida, 3 each from Ohio and Michigan, 2 from Iowa, New Jersey, and Texas as well. On defense, the Eagles add 4 recruits at the defensive line, 3 at linebacker, and 5 in the backfield of the defense. Well, 4 wide receivers, 4 tight ends, 2 offensive linemen, and 2 running backs on offense as well. So a very productive class, 19 different players ranked by recruiting services. 6 have 3-star tallies, including 3 guys from the JUCO ranks that are now in school, and 2 early enrollees on the high school side of things, but a very exciting class. And we know Coach Creighton and staff, being around them really since 6:30 this morning, are really pleased with the guys they were able to haul off.
Certainly, and they knew the guys that they were going to bring in, and they just heard the fax machine make noise, and that was the confirmation that bringing those guys in, you just see that they're FaceTiming, texting, talking on the phone. You could just sense the excitement, and not only the coaches' voices, but the student-athletes' voices as well. This is a really special day for them. It's a special day for the Eastern Michigan program. And really, you think about it, I mean, we talked about this last year, that we were impressed at the way Coach Creighton and his staff brought in such a large class so quickly. And then we had some guys that make immediate impacts, and Jason Beck and Jeremiah Harrison. This year, you see what they can do for a whole year. Really looking forward to see these guys take the field at the factory.
Yeah, you think back last year, Jason Beck was the first kid on the fax machine, and he only ends up being the EMU Freshman of the Year. The first fax to roll off the fax machine this morning was?
Brian also Brooks. So the kicker punter, obviously Michigan native, and possibly a quarterback. We'll see what he can do when he comes here in the fall, but looking forward to see him. As you mentioned, that we've seen him before doing a broadcast, and he can certainly boot the ball, that's for sure.
Yeah, one of 3 kids in this class that played high school QB, but will be playing different positions at Eastern Michigan. Also, Brooks was the QB/punter and kicker. I mean, we see a guy like Brody Hoying who will change over at that. And the other one that played is escaping me right now, but I will find that here in a second in my notes as you talk for me.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, you just look at these guys down the line. There's just so much depth, and you talk about the variety at the different positions. I mean, this team had 1 tight end coming back on the team last year. You got Tyrese Russell, who had a great career here, and he's gone. So really, you have Cole Gardner, and you have nobody else. But to sign 4 tight ends, and it allows Coach DeBoer to maybe bring one of these freshmen starting right away and go with those 2 tight end sets. That's going to be huge. Got a couple running backs that'll help replace the loss of Ryan Brumfield and Bronson Hill. Obviously, having Darius Jackson will be helped to be a veteran in the backfield. And then you got the guys at receiver with Dustin Creel being the veteran on that squad. But then you got some guys that saw a little bit of action last year, but then these guys can just step right in as well. And it's going to be interesting to see how things develop. And I think it's going to be really important that Coach talked about Coach McKeefery getting the workout regimens to them. They're really going to have to put in the work before they come to Ypsilanti, and then that's going to factor in what they do in the fall.
Isaac Holder, the 3rd player, for my mental lapse on the other player that played QB in high school as well. And then you look at guys, offensive players of the year in their state, in Hoying, and the defensive player of the year from the state of Illinois is as well on this team in Nick Dillon. So really, they continue to haul in great talent and build off what they have. And it should be an exciting 2015 campaign, which will feature 6 home games at the factory for the first time in a couple of years, all against FBS opponents. Once this broadcast concludes, season ticket sales will be online. You can read all about that on emueagles.com, as we'll have all that, as season tickets will be on sale by calling the EMU ticket office at 734-487-2282. But we also want to remind you that Signing day event continues tonight from the Convocation Center. A big night and a very special night that continues to grow. Heather, like last year, brought the signing day celebration, and the snow was not conducive to it last year. Hopefully people can make it out in the snow once again, 6 o'clock tonight, as Coach will unveil the actual videos of each of the guys.
Yeah, we certainly had the snow a couple days ago, so hopefully the roads are plowed and they'll be fine. But yeah, last year was a great event. I mean, everybody showed up and really supported and coming together. And football is so exciting all year round. You had the national championship ending just over a month ago, but then signing day's right around the corner, and then following signing day, you look right towards spring practice. So this signing day event tonight is really going to be a nice celebration, kind of get ready towards the spring practice, and obviously season tickets going on sale as well is a big thing to get ready towards the fall.
I don't know about you, but I'm all set for spring, especially trudging through the snow this morning on my way to the car and having to shovel the last few days. So snow can go away, and spring football will soon be in the air. It's hard to imagine it'll be this quick.
Yeah, certainly. It's hard to believe. I mean, we talked to the coaches in a month from today. They're going to be on that field, whether it's going to be the factory or most likely the indoor practice facility, knowing the winter weather here in Ypsilanti, but we'll see what happens.
On a bittersweet note, before we cross out of this broadcast, I do have to mention that today will be the final time you and I get to don the headset together as you depart us here at Eastern Michigan. It's been a fun ride, and it's sad to see you go, but bigger and better things in store for you, and it's going to be hard to replace someone like you.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, I've enjoyed my 2.5 years here, and I certainly felt like I grew a lot in the industry. I enjoyed everything that you guys have done for me, the entire staff as well. I mean, working with the football team, the soccer team, gymnastics, baseball, men's basketball, and all the other sports has been great here at Ypsilanti. You know, I've enjoyed getting my master's degree here. I look to complete that here in the spring, but you know, it's moving on to a full-time job, and I'm looking forward to the next step in my career.
It's been a fun ride. We've donned the headsets a lot together, and it'll be strange not walking in the office without you starting next week. So we appreciate everything you've done, and for the entire staff here at the Athletic Media Relations Office, Sean Hestetter running the controls right in front of us, and Megan Samasa and a camera as well. It's been a fun day here on Eagle All Access, and we hope you've enjoyed the ride too. Still much more to come for one final time from the Convocation Center. I'm Greg Steiner, Adam Kuffner saying so long, everybody. We'll see you later from Ypsilanti. Good night, everybody.
I sent an email to both you